right, we're back. Our new rapid authoring format, running it back, is allowing us to be prolific. We got hot takes coming. Tarlin, how are you? How you digesting the new format here?
So don't hold anything against Palmer Media because
Yeah.
you actually have a business in helping others
Yes.
launch pods. You are
Yeah.
one of the best editors out there,
Yeah.
and you used to spend time. I
Right.
miss it.
Have you heard of sycophantic drift? This is a little diversion for you here, but they're now talking about how there's a problem with the AIs where they're too agreeable and they're becoming sycophantic to the point that they're flattering you and they're not providing value. And it's actually a problem. So sycophantic drift.
Got
That's
it.
your like AI note for the podcast. Yeah.
It's soon running it back.ai. You're welcome.
Yeah.
So it is. I appreciate getting out these pods faster.
Yeah.
We had to have an emergency one. I'm actually here under false pretense because you thought we wanted to talk about. We do. We want to talk about Giannis and Halliburton.
Yeah.
I do want to apologize
Right.
because I was not jinxing you when I
Yeah.
congratulated you on
Right.
the Knicks winning,
Yeah.
closing out on their home court for the first time since
Yeah.
1999. In the
Don't double
series.
down. Don't double down. Let's
Yes,
move on.
I'm just making sure people understand.
Just
against
jab and
the
move.
distance.
Jab and move. I got
I
you.
realize.
I got you. We're not going
Okay,
to
got
talk
it.
about that
I
series.
realize.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
we're moving on.
Yeah.
I also want to talk about and the Pacers did close out. So we talked about Shador yesterday. By the way,
Yeah.
oversight when we didn't talk about affluenza and talk about Orwig's son who pranked
True.
Shador.
Jax. I believe his name is
Jax.
Jax. With
Jax.
an X. With an X. Yeah.
Jax
Uh-huh.
pranks Shador. Who even would think to do that? You're messing with someone's life. But anyways,
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about that.
Trolls like getting shine.
Trolls like
even if it's
and then
negative.
now
side.
he's in the spotlight.
Yeah.
$250,000.
Yeah.
That's not a. I don't know. Hey, Jack's
make
not
a-
sure. I think your college fund just got depleted.
Think a dent in your affluenza there if you're not careful.
So we will talk about the end of the Pacers Bucks game.
Yeah.
Where we have the new T Morant of our
Yeah.
team.
Right.
We know father
John Halliburton. Yeah.
likes the fight guy, John. But I really brought you here for an emergency pod, and really, I had another call in 18 minutes. I know you got another call.
Yeah.
I see your Mets hat. Congrats.
This whole thing.
Continue to do what
Yeah.
you can do. But why don't you like Tyrese Haliburton? What do you have against the guy who was the assist leader last year? He is a 2-time NBA All-Star. He was
Yeah.
13 All-NBA last year. Most likely will be All-NBA this year.
Mhm.
He's an Olympian.
Yeah, I remember.
He's a FIBA champ.
Yeah.
A little bit of a funky shot. But
Yeah.
what do you have against Tyrese Haliburton?
Yeah. I mean, he's just soft, and that's where I would normally use the Kobe soft gif to characterize him if we were chatting with each other. But yeah, he showed up to the press conference after Giannis, the poet laureate, the future Nobel Prize winner, Peace Prize, based on his postseason press conferences. He's like the Steve Kerr of postseason press conferences. He's very eloquent. Unlike him, the guy who just jumped on the scores table and was rah rah, check me out, shows up to his press conference wearing sunglasses to talk about this situation with his dad and Giannis, which we'll get into in a minute. But it's like, if you're trying to be sincere, if you're trying to be authentic, don't wear sunglasses. If you just want to quickly deflect, it's not about you. Granted,
But
it's
I
a weird
think I remember
moment.
one of our favorite lines ever. That's my quarterback. Wasn't Terrell? Wasn't T.O. wearing sunglasses?
Of course.
Keep going.
I mean, but that's like, he's a wide receiver. I guess that's what I'm saying. He's not a leader. The wide receiver is very seldom a leader on a team. They're the diva. They're the quirky, special kid with like interesting style. That's Halliburton, as opposed to the guy he beat out for the Olympic team, Jalen Brunson. He's a good foil. I mean, we like having villains. We like our Indianapolis villains to be ours. And now, apparently Halliburton's a bigger villain in Milwaukee than he is in New York. And that's fine. We don't need the Pacers to be an actual rival of ours. We're hoping that the Celtics will be a rival, but it looks like the Pistons may become a rival if Tibbs doesn't figure out how to either give a foul or use a timeout. If he doesn't, like deer in the headlights, balding deer in the headlights. I'm sorry, we're not talking about the Knicks.
So why don't you set the stage? Tell us what happened with Giannis and Halliburton, because I have some counters to what you just said.
You're asking me to set the stage. You get me all fired up. Now I have to set the stage. So end of game, end of overtime. Giannis is playing his heart out. Basically, Milwaukee, what's his name? Gary Trent Jr., is that his name? Yeah. That guy's going off, hitting like 4 threes, I think, in overtime. Like he's just going off. And then historic collapse at the end, where at the very, very end, 1.6 seconds left, I think, when he hit the layup, Halliburton prances, because he's a prancer. He prances by, does his little like a hard dribble to the right, going past him. Also, Giannis, like, make him go left. I don't know. That's what I might try to do. But I guess he was trying to steer him towards help, which wasn't there. And it's the end of the game. Play a little bit of help. I would say Josh Hart has demonstrated that a little bit of aggressive help at the end of the game, you might walk away a winner. But anyway, that set up enough. And then afterwards, so the heartbreaking loss. And then while Giannis is just standing out there, also Giannis, hate to say it, but like maybe just get off the court. You just lost. Don't soak it in. Don't soak in the agony. Don't open up the opportunity. But he's getting his shit together. He's ready to leave. And John Halliburton, Tyrese's dad, walks out with collectible. By the way, they're available. Somewhere you can buy these Halliburton towels. I imagine even with tariffs and stuff going off the shelves, I have a feeling you'll still be able to pick up a Tyrese Haliburton. They'll also probably be sent to a developing country for kids who need towels. But yeah, Haliburton, lovely. Picture him. It's like the Shrouded Turin. It's near Easter, except it's Haliburton. And he's holding it up in front of Giannis, running his mouth. And, I mean, it's bad enough if the players themselves are running their mouths. But Giannis at first just thought it was a dude, which is pretty close to Malice in the Palace, honestly, except the game's over. You don't know what's going to happen next. He didn't really look aggressive, but he was just running his mouth. And then later, Giannis does this kind of like mind meld, head to head, like a headbutt without actually butting, like an alignment of foreheads, which was weird because he's, a foot taller than the guy. And then Giannis gives this eloquent post-game interview where very authentic guy, real, like his values come through. I was just looking back. We did a show about him talking about failure after the end of, I think it was the 22 season, the year after they were defending their championship in 21. And the guy asked him, was the season a failure? And, that's when he said famously, like, there's no failure in sports, So like, he's like next level insightful, especially the way he was talking about his dad and the way he was talking about the way he was raised. That's why I thought it was a good opportunity outside of my general disdain for Halliburton. I think like the lessons that can be learned from how Giannis is handling himself and, also just how, civil society is a little bit edgier maybe than it needs to be these days, so there's probably some lessons learned there.
So a few things that come up. One, and Matthew will get there. Your son will start playing in rec ball. Maybe he starts playing couple. Oh, you're going to see some interesting parents.
Yeah. I already see him at the 6-year-olds at the Y. Their parents are way too serious.
Insert themselves into the game.
Yeah.
So earlier in the year, T. Maria he was ejected from a game because he was hammering the refs against OKC. There was a huge free throw discrepancy, but he was removed from the game. We know we've covered Ja. Ja has had some likes to fight moments. He was found not guilty on charges recently stemming from the fight that he had with a player in a high school game.
Yeah.
He's showed up at a high school game. So
convictions, none.
Yeah,
it's that kind of thing.
So we know, and when T was kicked out and Ja was asked about it, Ja basically was sporting and said, I'm sure he was talking about how bad the refs were in a way without getting.
Yeah.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Tyrese, on the other hand, and I know it took you a long time to say why you really have some disdain for Tyrese. It's because he was picked over one diminutive Jalen Brunson.
Man, is diminutive like, are we Sesame Street? Like,
No,
you have learning objectives around diminutive?
It's the word of the week.
The word of the week. Okay. That's what
It's
I'm
also in my New York Times. It's like that scramble. It's like the pangram sometimes.
Oh, yeah, sure. I know this. Yeah.
Every day. Come on.
The B, right?
Yeah. A couple of things about Halliburton. It's a different picture.
Right. And you're not talking about the defense contractor. It's you need to disambiguate there.
I mumble. Sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
He's got an ugly shot. His game can be pretty streaky.
Yeah.
He is on a team where it's a bunch of role players that are better than role players, but they play hard. And so to point him out as a star, people struggle with.
Both teams played hard.
To the point.
I got to drop a sheet in there. Sorry, I had to. Sheet bomb.
The most recent anonymous poll of 90 NBA players said that Halliburton was the most
overrated.
Most overrated player in the game, 14.4%.
I can hear the chants in MSG already.
Number 2 was Gobert. Gobert, by the way, was number 1 last year.
Yeah.
And right behind that was Trae Young. By the way, number 2 last year was Jimmy Buckets. So love this fan. Okay. So there's a lot that people can question. Some will say, if you look at Quarter Gold, what was that dude doing playing with those guys?
Yeah. I mean, it turns out he wasn't really playing.
But beyond, and Kerr said, this is a group of Hall of Famers. You remember, I'm in a room of Hall of Famers. So what I will say to
Tyrese,
to Halliburton's, I will defend him. One, he showed up and did not make, it wasn't about him for the Olympics. He did his job.
Got a free trip to Paris.
2, Milwaukee may have issues with Halliburton. So he was jawing with Dame time. No one jaws with Dame time.
Yeah. He was taunting him with his own thing.
Taunting him. Dame goes down. Yeah. And he starts his presser by saying, everyone knows how much I love Dame Lillard. The last thing I want to do is foresee him get hurt. I want to make sure everyone here, like, I want him to have a speedy recovery. Yeah. That is him soaking, like, taking it and saying, that's the last thing I want. 3, unlike John, when he found out what his dad did, he said that should never happen.
Right.
My dad should have never done that. What he should do is watch the game from his seat, cheer, and when the game is over, I'm going to come to him. Right. So I want to paint. You got him prancing. You got him being so soft when he just gritted out one at the end of the game, a dunk, tied to take him to overtime.
Okay.
And then you say, where's the help? Blew by what is a former Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, and a champion.
Yeah.
To get a layup to clinch the series. By the way, they clinched it in 5, and maybe we can teach the Knicks how to clinch a series.
Yeah, so, I think it's the starting point guard on the other side tears his Achilles. I think that's how.
So we brought you here. It's the emergency pod is a couple of things. One.
Yeah. You get my dander up.
What? Yes. I was trying to run it back to find any parrot that was as egregious as what John Halliburton did yesterday.
Yeah.
So maybe I did look at the Cooper Flagg's mom, who was Cooper Flagg is getting harassed so badly in the game. Then Cooper dunked on the team's head, and she was in the stands making a motion, like getting riled up, but never on the court.
Yeah.
So it's something to watch out for. The entourage, its family, believing that they're part of the game, where in the same way we talked about Shador and Shador and Bronny and Lonzo and LaMelo yesterday, at the point they make it to their job, you're out of the equation. So
you're beyond out of the equation. You're part of his entourage, which has to be kind of emasculating to begin with. So that's why
be a fan.
Working some stuff out.
Your kid.
I'm not defending John Halliburton,
I
but
think you are.
I'm really not. And I just think we need House of Zones back, and I'm ready for a House of Antetokounmpo versus House of Halliburton. It was funny. I gotta say, it was a little bit funny for Giannis to talk about how his family kind of keeps it under wraps when half of his family is on the bench of
They're on the rocks in the stands because
yeah,
those two brothers are cheering on the sidelines with him.
exactly.
So like, we can't have them everybody. We gotta
Very
make
good.
sure.
Very good bench players. I think I don't know if they do the rocket thing. They do all the moves. They know
So I
how to
will
do it.
say the last thing to finish with. So let's watch out. I do think youth culture, youth sports, and the crazy parent, it's not going away. It's only going to heighten. But if you have 4.5 minutes to listen to what Giannis says after the game, in the same way he said there's no losing in sport, it is gold.
Yeah.
The main thing we talked about yesterday, the day before, I don't know, talking about Shador, is a humble confidence. And what he said was, win or lose, we are champion, not rubbing it in someone else's face. I have won a championship. I appreciate that they won. Good luck. They played a great game. I appreciate it, but don't be disrespectful. And that goes to a little bit links to the draft. And did you disrespect the shield? Did you disrespect the process and have some humility? So not everyone, it doesn't mean, listen, everyone's going to have if they dunk on someone's head, you're going to cheer. You're going to talk. You're going to do everything you need to in a game, but it's the way that you carry yourself. And so I just thought that was a great, other than getting you on record, to make sure we understand why. Like Tyrese.
Well, that's not the only reason. Don't act like that's the only reason I don't like him. It's more than just that. But yes, and I think one Spider-Man has a little something coming for them. I saw the way Cleveland dispatched Coach Spo and bucketless Miami Heat team. I'm expecting, I don't know if it's 4, but I don't see Indianapolis making it to, say, 6. I think this series has got to be done in 5, I would think, just because Cleveland's too good. And now I have a more invested rooting interest, which is good. Plus, is Giannis on the market? Where's he going to land? That's the new question. And I get the sense that he just kind of wants to go away. Like, this stuff seems to take a lot out of him, and he always just seems exhausted by the time he
30, 20, and 13 would do that. So I'll leave you with this because you're saying the Pacers have no chance. In the regular season, Pacers won 3 out of the 4 games. We'll see. We'll see. And so I appreciate you showing up after a tough defeat yesterday. Appreciate you.
I mean, you're used to that this season anyway, right? I mean, you got a big game tonight.
Talking about your probably what will be the all NBA 13 point guard in Tyrese. I appreciate having a moment to talk about the Antetokounmpo family.
House of Antetokounmpo.
And we will have that later. And more to come in the NBA Finals.
And let me just congratulate your Lakers for forcing a Game 7 tonight. You know, I mean, I guess they're gonna.
It wouldn't be a Game 7; it'd be Game 6. So
forcing a Game 6 and a Game 7. Because I had a Game 7. Just, I don't want to jinx them, but it's clear they're gonna win the next 2 games, and we'll go from there. All right, man. Rapid fire. Talk to you soon.
Later.